For my first project today, I'm going to be starting with this little birdhouse, and I'm going to see if I can update it a little bit. I'm going to be using IOD air dry clay, and I'm also going to be using the bookish mold that came out this summer. And then I have another mold from Wilton that I'm going to be using on the birdhouse. I want to decorate the roof of the birdhouse just a little bit more, so I'm using the IOD bookish mold, and I'm going to be using this part of the mold right here to make like little boards for the top of my birdhouse. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be making 3 of these, and then I'm going to use the Wilton mold, and I'll show you what I'm going to do, but I'm going to make a little different kind of a trim along the bottom here. On the Wilton mold, I'm going to be using this mold right here. So here's what one side of the roof will look like, and I'm going to do the exact same thing for the other side, and then I'll be gluing them on. And I think I'm going to put like a mold in the peak here. There's like a little valley, and I want to make it more like a peak, I guess. And I'm not for sure what mold I'm going to use for that yet. So for the peak part of the house, I decided to use the Wilton mold and use this mold right here. So after looking at the birdhouse from the front, I thought it needed something. This is what it looked like before. And then I added the mold that I used along the bottom here of the roof. I just think it adds a little bit more character to the roof, and I'm going to be doing the same thing for the back. You know how sometimes you work on a project and you think, oh, I've added this. It needs a little bit more maybe. So I thought the front of the birdhouse needed something really cool. And I thought about, what about this mold from Iron Orchid Designs? It's called Hidden Hollow, and it has these 3 different doors. And I thought, how cute would that be on the front of the birdhouse to have like its own door? So I cast one of the doors. I used this one right here, and I have placed it on the birdhouse. I haven't glued it down yet, but I'm trying to figure out how I want the little opening for the bird to be right here. And so I'm just kind of going around pressing with my finger where the opening is to see if I can make that opening again. So I kind of have the area like marked off. So since I haven't glued it on yet, I'm going to go ahead and take it off of here. And let's see. Okay, so that did work. Now I just have to get this clay out of here, out of the little hole for the bird. So I just used a little straight pin and stuck it into the clay, and that worked really well. Now I can to prop my little birdhouse up here. Hopefully you can see this. Since I lined it up earlier with that little perch for the bird, I should be able to fit it right back on there, and there is the little opening for the bird. I think it's adorable. I'm going to glue that on and continue to let the molds dry. So I really like the wood on the birdhouse. So I think I'm going to leave the sides and the back as is, but everywhere where I've placed a mold, I'm going to paint that in the color I'm going to paint with Fusion Paint in the color Chateau. So the paint is dry on the birdhouse, but the molds still aren't quite dry yet. But the next thing I want to do is I want to add this spindle for a base, so I can raise up the birdhouse, and I'm just going to be gluing that on. So for the birdhouse, I want just a little bit more dimension, so I'm going to take a little bit of the Dixie Belle paint in the color Magnolia, and I'm just going to be dry brushing over the molds to hopefully bring out some of the detail in those molds. I just have a very small amount of paint on my paintbrush, but I just want to see if I can highlight. For this project, I have this beautiful bird and floral decoupage paper. This is the name of the decoupage paper, if you can see that. And I'm going to be using this wood blank that I purchased at a flea market. I think it was only $1. And I'm going to be using this center bird right here. I'm going to start by decoupaging it onto my wood blank. Before I do that, I want to give this whole piece a coat of the Fusion color Chateau, just so I can have a lighter background for my decoupage paper. So before I decoupage my paper on, I thought of something, and since this is already like a defined frame around here, I'm going to try the classic Crackle two-step component of varnish on the outside of my frame and see what that looks like before I put the decoupage paper on. So I applied component 1, it has dried. Now I'm going to be applying the classic Crackle component 2. Okay, so component 2 has dried, but I can tell there's going to be some crackles. It's probably hard for you to see them, but I'm going to highlight them. But before I highlight them, I'm going to go ahead and decoupage my decoupage paper on here. And then I'm going to highlight the crackles. So the decoupage paper has dried, and I sanded around the edges to give it a nice smooth finish. Now it's time to highlight these crackles and see what I got. So I'm going to start with the Fusion wax in the color Espresso, but I do have some clear wax standing by in case I think it's getting too dark. Okay, can you see the crackles? I got a little bit on my decoupage paper, but I'm okay. That's why I did the decoupage paper first, because I didn't want the wax to be where I put the decoupage paper, and I knew I wouldn't mind if a little bit got around the edges of the decoupage paper. So I'm going to go ahead and go around the whole frame, and then I'll show you what it looks like. So here is the picture. I think it looks like a true vintage picture, even though it's not. And I really like the idea of aging up the frame and not the image itself. The image still looks vintage, but now the outer part of this frame looks vintage also. Let me know in the comments what you think. So this is a quick and easy project. This is a little watering can that I purchased at a yard sale for $1. It originally was a brighter yellow, but it's been faded out by the sun, and it has a little bit of the rust around the edges like we tried to recreate, but this is already created for me. So I'm going to leave it as is. And I've already washed it. And I'm just going to be applying these transfers from the Madeline transfer book from Iron Orchid Designs. And it's going to be that easy to have a transformation of this little watering can. I think it looks really cute. I'm just going to add this little butterfly right over here. Just because I don't even know which transfer book this came from, but a lot of the Iron Orchid Designs transfer books come with butterflies. So I had an extra one, and I'm just going to transfer it on there. So it's just that easy. Just take your time, and they're very easy to transfer on. So now the transfers do need to be sealed in, and I'm going to be using Dixie Belle Clear Coat in the flat finish. So for my next project, I have this round piece of wood. It looks like it was someone's project piece that they were going to make something with it. And it is a pretty color of wood, but I am going to be painting it. And I'm going to paint it with the Fusion paint in the color Chateau. So the Fusion paint in the color Chateau has dried, and I'm going to be using this stamp by Iron Orchid Designs. It's the new mini stamp that just came out this summer. This is the name of it right here. It's a beautiful stamp, and I'm going to be stamping the word Cottage along the outer edge of this, what I'm going to be calling a riser. So I was going to use this painter's tape to help me like hold the stamps while I stamp it on, but I think I'm going to go ahead and do them individually. So I'm going to be using Stays On ink. So I really like the lettering. I'm just not for sure if at a glance, if I see the word cottage. Let me know what you think.